On Counseling Talk, we are going to dive into 6 strategies that you can utilize in your relationship today. Literally, right now, stop everything that you're doing and focus just on building, nurturing, improving your relationship. So, number one, share the things that you do throughout the day. There's 24 hours in a day, at least 8 of them you're awake and you're doing things. You're going to work, you're hanging out with people, you're eating lunch. Um, you're doing all sorts of stuff and you're having all sorts of thoughts and all sorts of experiences in your relationship with your partner. Share some of those. If you get home and you're looking at your partner and you haven't seen them since the morning, and then you're staring at them and you're wondering, I wonder what this person did all day. I wonder who they spoke to. I wonder how their day went. Right? Those are the answers that you want. Those are the questions that you want to pose. We want to pose those throughout the day. An example of how to implement this strategy in your relationship would be that you maybe in the morning, you catch up with them. And you say, hey, what's your to-do list for today? Maybe around lunch, you send them a funny emoji and then you ask them questions of what have they done? What's the funniest thing they did today? The most productive thing? How productive do they feel? You want to pose these questions because questions connect to the very beginning of a relationship. Think about your relationship when it first started. More than likely, you had tons and tons of questions. So again, strategy number one is share the things that you do throughout the day. Now let's go to strategy number two. Include your partner in intimate parts of your life, such as your personal thoughts and feelings. Now this ties right into number one, but it goes a little bit deeper. Whenever you are living a life, right? Whenever you are just waking up and you're navigating yourself through work, through relationships with friends and peers and all these interactions, there's probably moments that you have some deep thoughts. Maybe you go into what's my purpose in life? Am I connecting to my values? Do I feel valued and cherished? So these are the thoughts and feelings that you want to connect and you want to communicate with your partner to make sure that you both are just conversating about it, just so you have somebody there for you, but also that you're working towards common goals and a common mission. All right. Number three, which again connects to number one and two. That way it makes it easier on all of us. Number three is create values and understand how to implement the values in your relationships. Now, if you watch these videos where I go into supporting individuals with relationships or couples in relationships, I am a huge advocate of values because values connect to why we do what we do. So in your relationship, if you're sitting with your partner and you both are looking at each other and giving one another that stare, think about what are the values that align us. Why do we do what we do? Why do we have our goals? What are our goals? For some people, one of their values could be to explore, to have adventures. So that means that throughout the year, they take many vacations and they go to different places. Before you leave strategy number three, make sure that I would encourage you to have values, but also to make sure that your values are action oriented. They're not just things thrown out there and you're looking around and you say, well, I haven't taken a trip in years. Well, that may mean that you have this idea of a value, but it's not action oriented. So it's just sitting there. Number four, the key to a healthy relationship starts and ends with work. I was speaking to an individual and they were like, I don't think we should have to work this hard in a relationship. Or I don't think, when does the work end? And, if you really just dig deep into that question, would you ever want the answer to be, it's going to end tomorrow, it's going to end now? Because then we may reach a level of boredom. Whenever you do anything, whenever you work, when you play a game, you want it to continue. You want it to add on, page upon page. If you're reading a good book, sometimes you don't want it to end. So in your relationship, you're going to have this same experience. You want to be able to wake up and say, okay, how can I work at my relationship? Because when we work at things, we benefit from them. But if there's no work to do, there's no benefit to receive. We're just in plateau. Maybe we just reach this really level of gray and of like a limbo of boredom. So push against that. Allow yourself to say, I want to work in my relationship because then we benefit, we get rewards, we get to smile. Number five, acts that create connection, support, and overall improve the relationship. So strategy number five is to make sure that you are engaging in these acts. So what are acts that create connection? It could be going on a date, holding hands. What are acts that support your partner? It could be if they're having a hard time, asking questions. How are you? How do you feel? What's going on? Engaging in that deep level of conversation. Acts that connect to overall improving the relationship. One of those can be waking up in the morning and bringing your partner a cup of coffee. It's just coffee, right? It's some grains, some coffee beans, and a mug. So it's not a big deal. But if you engage in it, then it can become a big deal because it's an act of kindness. And it goes a long way. Number 6, and then we'll wrap up here. So I appreciate you sharing a little bit of life with me. Number 6 is monitor our individual level of tolerance to be our best version with our partner. So what I mean here is by your level of tolerance is we all have like a certain amount that we can deal with. If someone bugs you all day, at some point you're going to snap, and then things may go in the wrong direction. So when it comes to having a healthy relationship, we want to look at having a healthy you. So think about yourself. Imagine that you have this like meter, if you will, and you want your meter to be fed by exercise, self-care, and by really good interactions. So if you find yourself having difficult interactions with your partner and you're on edge, you're restless, that may mean that certain things are going to spill out, like negative words, negative actions. So that's where you're at in your relationship. Instead of engaging in those negative words and saying really mean SHIT or acting in a negative manner, pump your brakes. Share with your partner, hey, listen, my level of tolerance is really low right now. I need to go engage in some self-care. And then go do you. Go do some self-care. Go for a drive. Go for a walk. Go for a jog. Go play golf. Read a good book. Color in a coloring book. Whatever it may be. Refill that energy meter. Come back with your partner. Come back, as you, as a whole version, and then have that tough conversation in a much more productive way. So that was 6 strategies, 6 tools that you can implement in your relationship right away today. If you enjoyed this video, share it. Maybe you know the couples who are wanting to wake up every day with happiness, with joy, to be in a relationship that they enjoy. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, with your peers, with anyone that you think would find it helpful. Have a great rest of the day.